going on, everybody? Welcome to the CBSI Presents Hot 10 list for the week of February 13th, 2020, Friday the 13th. I am Brian McClay from the FlipSide crew. I'm here with my co-host Dino. What's up, brother?
What up, man? It's March, not February, but that's okay.
Yeah, so, holy shit, man.
Let's go. Let's go.
The coronavirus is destroying me. Did I? Okay, good. I'm just making sure. I hope you guys like that little Jason mask on good old Ben S. That was fun. Yeah. All right. So this is the Hot 10 list this week. We've got a couple new books, couple returning books, some interesting stuff. Let me go ahead and switch everything over here real quick. All right, here we go. We want to give a quick shout out to the one-stop shop crew, tosscomics.com. Go get yourselves a Decorum special limited variant, and looks like a really cool book coming out. And if you get a chance, go check out comicbookinvest.com also, and maybe pick yourself up a variant over there like this beautiful Wolverine #1 black and white variant. With all the craziness going around about Omega Red lately, I know I saw a picture of him looks like showing up on some set. I don't know if it was real or not. And that book, that first appearance book, was on the list last week, so you never know. That character seems to be blowing up. But make sure you go check out comicbookinvest.com for all of those goodies. All right, let's get into it, brother. First book this week, of course, it is the everybody's favorite Golden Age book this week. Dino, you know much about Sensation Mystery?
I don't. You know, it's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool cover, but I don't know much. It looks like an old DC book from back in the day, which is, I mean, DC books. I mean, we talk about Silver Age DC books being tough to get. Golden Age DC books are even tougher. I mean, you can look at like the Batman Gatling gun cover and stuff like that. I mean, they just don't survive, you know, in this market. So
yeah, well, it's kind of crazy. We talk about it every week, how nuts the Golden Age is going, obviously, but it looks like Ben wrote for this week a 7.0 copy sold at auction this week for $1,800. The most recent sales he could find were from 2019, when a 4.0 sold for $400 and a 5.0 sold for $3,400. Sorry, Jesus. Let me restart this. In 2019, a 4.0 sold for $400, a 5.0 sold in 2018 for $340, and you could have picked up a Pedigree 8.5 in 2002 for a measly $220. Yes, folks, that's how far the market has come. So
I still think the 7.0 for $1,800, even though it's kind of, you know, from 2002, but from that $1,800 still seems low to me, you know, for a Golden Age book in that high of a grade.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on to the next one. Next honorable mention this week, which is a very cool cover, and I really like the Sweetheart #1 Christian DiBari variant. What Ben says is it's a very odd premise, but I think it's the insane cover that is causing this one to creep up cover price to start. But the past few are approaching $10 and $15 raw, and there are very few available. That is a really creepy cover, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you ever heard of the old hag syndrome? Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this crazy. This is me growing up listening to Coast AM, you know, every night. One of the things that used to scare me the most was there's this sleep paralysis type syndrome. We all sometimes, most of us go through points of sleep paralysis where we almost feel like we're awake, but we can't move type thing. And a lot of people call that the old hag syndrome, where they feel like an old hag is sitting on their chest, holding them down. And that's what that kind of just creeps me out. That kind of reminds me of that. It's just creepy. So, but yeah, very cool cover. And if I saw that in the wild, I'd be buying that up, no doubt.
Yep.
So, all right, on to the normal list. A return of a goodie, and that is Invincible Iron Man #7. The first appearance are they saying this is the cameo, the first appearance of Riri?
It's the first appearance of Riri, because the variant cover actually sells for a little bit more, but still the regular cover still, you know, still decent.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of the way MJ looks on this cover, but people love Riri, so this book seems to pop on the list every once in a while. And basically, this was a $20 to $25 book that has jumped all the way up to a $50 book. So, if you've been holding this book because you feel like, or the buy-in on it was a little high and you're not getting your money, man, throw this book up there right now, because $50 raw is pretty good return.
And I just saw a 9.8 that sold, and it had the first appearance of Riri on the slab. So I mean, there you go.
Yep. All right, number 9. This is Justice League number 50 from 2016. One of my favorite all-time story arcs, and that's Darkseid War. What a great! I mean, there's very few times where I get giddy about a story arc in comics. And I remember just going to the shop every Wednesday looking for the next Darkseid War arc. I bought all the tie-ins. I was really stoked. I really loved the Darkseid's daughter and that type of stuff. This was just a great book, great storyline, great art, great everything. And it looks like this one has kind of jumped from being a dead book to a $10 book raw, because the Joker storyline, the 3 Joker storyline, is finally starting to get some steam, and this is kind of where it first started, the whole thought of the 3 Joker storyline, I would say.
And I would think too, if you had these in a long box and forgot about them, I might dig them out, because I mean, I don't think this is hitting the stratosphere. I mean, I would try to move as much as you can,
Unless you're like me and it's just part of a set, a run. And I got to throw, if I'm going to sell just one, I got to throw the whole run up there. I'm that type of shit drives me nuts. But that's why I'm a failed eBay seller. Number 8 this week, Spawn. It seems like got to have a Spawn book on the list. And this is this week's Spawn book, and it's a good one. Spawn number 305, the Jason Shawn Alexander variant. And I said it was a good one, but I get what Ben's kind of thoughts on this. I'm a big Spawn fan. I love seeing any Spawn books on the list, even though I probably don't own half of them. But what Ben says is this is another one that falls in the H category. Selling for 20 plus, savvy buyers can possibly still pick this up at some large online retailers. So, yeah.
I think the cover looks dope. I like the flame kind of crown kind of thing and the skulls. I mean, it just that's a big thing. It's cool.
You know me. I'm all about skulls on comic art. I'm all about skulls, period. I love skulls and art and cool ways to display them. And so this is a cool one for me. But I get it. You just don't understand them sometimes. When books selling, you might not get it, but they do. And this is the next one is one that just seems to be going crazy lately, and it was number 1 on last week's list, and that is this beautiful. I really like it. John Tyler Christopher C2E2 variant, numbered out of 3,000, and like I said, it was number 1 last week. We talked about it pretty heavy. I love the negative space variants that he's been doing for a while. I talk about that Witchblade variant all the time. Just a beautiful idea of how he does, his art. I like artists that find a really cool, like, niche way of doing things. That's really cool. And I think the negative space variants are.
And that's rare. It's 3,000. I mean, like I said last week, I think you can find it as a cheap 9.8 in a couple months once the heat dies down on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd buy it if it's cheap 9.8. I would say $150 maybe or something like that. I mean, I don't know how cheap it is, but
it might not be the best of the negative space variants. I'll agree with that. But if you're collecting the negative space variants, this is going to be one that you're going to want to have. Definitely right now is not the time to buy. It's the time to sell, in my opinion. I've seen some crazy prices on this. And what Ben says is our number 1 last week, the price has increased from $125 up to around $150. The book has sparked some interest in the other JTC negative space variants that he has done for Marvel over the past couple years as well. So I'm stoked to see some of those books get a little bit more love. Any time that you something that you enjoy, you see other people loving on it, it's kind of cool. So I've seen some really crazy prices for graded copies of this book, which just blew me away. So all right, on to number 6, and it seems like Thor God of Thunder, this It's just I don't think it's going to die anytime soon, and especially with the news of Christian Bale being on the new movie and reportedly playing this character that debuts in this issue, I would have put a mortgage payment down that he was going to play the God Butcher. I really believe that. I'm not disappointed, but Dario, I guess Agger is the way you say it. It says Dario Agger is back again on the list as rumors of set photos are swirling of Christian Bale playing the character. You could have picked this up a couple of weeks ago for around $15, but we'll have to shell out $30 to $40 now.
Yeah, this is I think the fourth book in this series that have been booming. So I mean, I besides like the classic like Spider-Man's and like big run books, this is probably by far one of the biggest run book, like short-lived books. I mean, I know you're up to 19, but it's like, it's crazy that one run has so many key books. I mean, not like Walking Dead, where you have like a million issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I will say this about God of Thunder. This was another one of the series that I was reading every week it came out. It was, my first or second read back then. Jason Aaron is an amazing writer, and this was his coming out party. At least it was for me. I remember reading the story thinking this is the best Thor story I've ever read.
Yeah.
I love the whole switching time periods thing, and they do a really good job in this. It's a big part of the story, and he just killed it in this. And I'm really stoked to see this hopefully ending up on the big screen. And I hope they stay really, close to the story, the real story that Jason Aaron did. We'll see though, because God Butcher could be a killer character, man.
Yeah, I agree.
You never know. So, all right. On to number 5 this week. I love Silver Surfer. I love Marvel Cosmic, and this is probably my favorite book on the list this week. Just for cover period. What a beautiful cover.
Yeah, and it's like what's funny is like with Silver Surfer, I'm a huge Silver Surfer fan too. It's hard to make a good Silver Surfer because he's all silver, so you gotta make sure you do it right with like dark and grayscale and stuff, and make it pop, and he achieves it. I mean.
Yeah,
crazy.
Well, I mean, what Ben writes is pretty swish, rinse, repeat. These command good money just after the release every single time and are very scarce. This one is following the same pattern. Only one sale, 2 live listings at the moment. The sale of 100 gets it on this list this week. So I'm not a big fan of Urgent variants anymore. I think that they've been oversaturated, but this is a really nice one. And
it's gonna. I mean, I don't know how they package it and how many really go. It's gonna be crazy, but it's gonna be hard 9.8, man. I mean, little Ben, little corner rub or something, or kind of rub. It's gonna be over, man.
Yeah, so. I love how he did the whole like being in like the wave, the rip curl of the wave, but it being like a galaxy type.
Yeah, kind of like hyperspace when you go into hyperdrive when you're going into Star Wars and stuff. It's dope.
It is dope. All right, number 4 this week. I'm every news story I hear about this book and the debacle at C2E2 has kind of just really soured me on this book. And I mean, it's selling though. People love their symbiotes. People love Venom. People love Clayton Crain, and it's got the American flag on there. Whether you take it as like some people I know are kind of angry about it, but it is what it is. I would be more angry about how the rollout for this copy, kind of.
Well, and the thing too is like I hope it doesn't get backlash on Clayton Crain because I don't think he had anything to do with it. So I mean, he's just a good artist that does great work. So I mean,
yeah. And what Ben writes is right along those lines. The price, he says, the price has increased from $125 to $175 plus. But the real story about this was from people that stated that a select few got all the copies at the con. Not cool. And we've had multiple people comment on the list this week talking about that, they've heard the same things. And one of the commenters says, yes, I can confirm the BS with the Venom book at C2E2. I went up to them a couple hours into the con on the first day, and the guy told me, we are sold out of them for today, but if you come back tomorrow, I guarantee I'll have one for you. I came back for the first thing the next day, and the same guy said, "I'm sorry, man. They told me we don't have any more at all."
Wow.
Whatever. So yeah, that was from Ryan Marin on a comment on the list. So another guy made a comment saying, "Really shady on the Venom C2E2. Money talks, brings out the bad side of people." So I agree 100%. You know, I talked about it last week. I saw the video from Slabbed Heroes, and it really soured me on the whole thing. But it's a big cover, so it's going to be on the list, and it's still selling. So our next book, number 3, is a fun book for me because I've always been a fan of Lockheed. He's kind of been one of my guilty pleasures, his favorite characters. And I am lucky. I do have a couple of these, but they're probably beat to hell.
Yeah.
But who doesn't love Lockheed, man? So this is X-Men 166 from the Uncanny run.
Was he in the X-Men Adventure? You know, the X-Men cartoon.
I think he was. Yeah, of course. I think he was. He had to have been. I don't remember him. I just remember him from the books, from the comics. But he had to have been on the cartoons, man. But yeah, this is what Ben puts in the write-up for this week for this issue is first appearance of Lockheed. The price of 9.6 copies jumped from 50 to 100, and 9.8 rose from 125 to 200. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a purple dragon? Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Ben. Oh, and he'll be in the New Mutants movie too, so that's gonna be cool. I'm really looking forward to that. All right, let's close out the last 2 and another return book. I think this one might be on the list a couple more times in the next few months. Yeah. The Last of Us, American Dreams, 1 of 4 at number 2 this week. We talked about it last week, Dino. I think this is going to be a really good show.
It's going to be huge, man. And I mean, it's Dark Horse came out with it. It wasn't like a Marvel or DC picked this up for whatever reason, and it's like an indie. And it's how many people ordered this? Not too many people back in the day. I mean, the Last of Us book. I mean, I know I didn't order it. I mean, no, I just played a video game. I mean, that's a lot of these video game covers and stuff is just never going to be, you know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the variant, which was a rare variant from last week's top 10. 2 Last of Us books were on last week's top 10.
Yep.
And the variant from this series, the Naughty Dog variant, they're calling it, was in the number 2 spot last week. And I did a little bit of looking into that book, and that was a book that you could only get via special video game version. Pretty damn rare. And I looked for, reasonable copies even at that time when it was still pretty hot.
Yep.
And it's just too tough of a book to find condition wise because it's got that cardstock cover. So I think that this book is going to be the one that people are going to gravitate to more just because it's a little easier to find. I don't know if this one has a cardstock cover. I say easy to find. It's got an estimated run of 6,000, but I don't know if this one has the cardstock cover, but if it doesn't, I really think this might be the one that people are going to gravitate toward just because it'll be easier to grade. But who knows? Definitely pick them up if you can find them. You're a lucky one if you can find them because I know they're really tough to find. Michael says, got a 9.8 Last of Us 1A cover. Really hope it's a good show. We're right there with you, brother. We're right there with you. On to number 1. But before we do, let's give another quick shout out to tosscomics.com, one-stop shop. Go get your Decorum variant. Really cool book. Very interesting to see what happens with this one. And make sure you go check out comicbookinvest.com, of course, for all your speculation and comic needs. I'll say it again. It's the wizard of our day. It's a wonderful site. Some of the best articles you can find and doing big things over there. So we appreciate those guys. Let's get on to number 1 this week. Number 1 this week, we all knew it. Bounty Hunters, number 1. And this is I'm not too big on this cover. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it kind of feels like it's phoned in a little bit. I don't know. I just don't think it's that great of a cover. I get it. It's Boba Fett. Dave Johnson is a great artist. This doesn't look like Dave Johnson's best work. And I'm a Dave Johnson fan. I have a lot of his stuff signed in my PC just because I love his covers. This one, It just doesn't seem.
Yeah, it's cute what he's trying to do, but I mean, it's like I think it just doesn't work because it's like it's on three sides of his helmet, which is cool, but it's like it anatomically it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless they were directly on. You know, it's like.
And also the helmet kind of feels like the animated Boba Fett, that
Yeah.
early animated first appearance of Boba Fett that back in the day.
Yeah, Star Wars 42 or
well, no, not Star Wars 42. I forget, he was in an animation cartoon. I apologize, guy, being a Star Wars fan, guys. I should know this one, but they also made a figure of it. The first appearance, it's like the animated Boba Fett, and the helmet on this cover really looks like that animated version. And I'm not a fan of the animated version's helmet, just the way it looks. Maybe that's kind of what it reminds me of, but. Hey, it's
not the Star Wars Holiday Special, right?
I think it was the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah, back in '78. Yeah.
Yep. So, what Ben writes is selling at 2x ratio at $100 days after release. This one should be no surprise. Boba Fett has a crazy following, which still boggles Ben's mind with less than 20 minutes of screen time ever.
He's a bounty hunter, man. That's all it's about. Taking names.
Yep, exactly, man. Hey, and Mandalorian. That's all you got to say. Mandalorian is putting Star Wars on its back and carrying that shit right now.
I like it.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys checking our show out this week. We are a little low on members this week due to, I hope it's not due to the coronavirus. Jesus. But
if we get the coronavirus, there's going to be a podcast every day because I'll be at the crib, dude. Basement. Let's do it. all I need is comics and blowout cards. Let's go. Just leave it on the doorstep, brother. Amen, brother.
So make sure you guys like and subscribe if you can. We'd appreciate it. We're gonna do we got a short episode this week, but make sure you guys go check out Tales from the FlipSide live every Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you there, and we appreciate it, you guys. Check you later.